Hello and welcome to the channel. If like me you've seen those amazingly beautiful DCS videos out there on the interwebs and you've thought it looks incredible, that looks like a really deep tactical simulation game and it's something I'd really like to get into. Well, lo and behold, you look at the price tag of some of these maps and some of the aircraft and you look at some of the manuals here that requires dedication in this simulation and it's really kind of put you off. Well, I'm a new flyer. I know basically nothing barring flying around in Arma 3 with a keyboard. Never had a HOTAS, never really got into flight simulation, but with the new titles coming out now and DCS always been around the games that I play and some of the people that I associate with telling me that it is incredible, I decided it was time to take the jump. But is this accessible for a brand new player who knows nothing? Well, here on the channel I'm going to be doing a series of videos where we can learn together, we can fly together, we can make mistakes, and hopefully once we've got our seat up flying high, we can learn together. Welcome to DCS World. On screen you can see the MB-39 pan, made by the folks over at the Frecce Tricolore Vitali team. The MB-339 is a free module based on the famous trainer made by Hamachi during the late 70s that now serves with the Italian Air Force and many others as a trainer-stroke light attack aircraft. This type has seen combat all over the skies of the Eritrean-Ethiopian War and the Falklands War, where it saw successful combat deployment. This module is free. Yes, you heard me, this is free, so if you've downloaded DCS World on Steam, then you can own this craft immediately. I rushed out and bought the Hornet C, but was overwhelmed with information overload with all its systems and functions. I was told about the 339 and found a group of pilots willing to take new flyers out and teach them to fly in this very capable aircraft. This also has the ability of a co-pilot, meaning this is the perfect training aircraft. It is weapon capable, but for the foreseeable future, I'm going to learn to actually fly. Learn the acronyms, the flight paths, the approach speeds, learn how this craft handles and awe at its amazing, shiny beauty. They say you can learn to fly this bird in around 3 to 4 hours, but the well is deep, deep enough to learn more and more for weeks, even months. When not functioning as a training aircraft, the Machi is also capable of being a relatively effective light attack aircraft. In this role, it performs surprisingly well given its size and payload. It lacks dedicated air-to-air armament, relying on the use of gun pods to engage other aircraft. You will have to put your trust upon top cover when you attack ground targets and hope there are no MiGs hunting you. The 339 also lacks any kind of countermeasures, which is not rare for training aircraft and is not inherently a negative point, but it needs to be noted as it restricts the situation in which this platform can be used effectively during combat. The best scenarios for this machine are low threat targets such as anti-insurgent CAS, close air support, missions in which air superiority is secured. Stage 1 for me is learning to start from cold. Learning to taxi, take off and land, which as you would imagine is not easy in a full-blown simulation. I've now got a new HOTAS and I have the pleasure, well, displeasure, of learning what to bind, where to bind it, and remembering. Here is what I've learned so far in this beautiful craft. DCS replays are garbage. Yes, you heard me. I played this replay back on screen 4 times and got 4 different, completely different videos every time. It's balked. Now let's move on, shall we? And at the end of this video, you shall see why these replays, well, they're not up to the quality of everything else in this title. Well, I hope that gave you a good example of why DCS replays are not very good. On the first video replay, I was running down the runway all good, which was how the actual flight took place. But on the second time that I played this back to get some more footage, it had me running along the side of the runway. This is a glitch and a problem with the DCS replays, and it's a real shame that you can't make really interesting cinematic videos, especially when you're doing multiplayer and some of these games go on for an hour, that you can't get the footage that you want because it's glitched. Now, I was told you can do this by creating your own multiplayer game and hosting it yourself and getting in, but that's exactly what we've done here, and apparently the replays are low on the agenda to be fixed. So I weep a little, my friends. I cry inside just a little bit more. So as I put on a smoke show here for you, I think it's time we actually talk a little bit more about this aircraft and what I've actually learned. The startup procedure in this is really simple, and I'll probably do a full video on this. If you're interested or you've got this aircraft or any questions, then do let me know. But for now, the startup procedure is very easy. I know how to set the brakes, set the flaps, remove onto taxi at 50 knots maximum. I stop before the runway, and usually I get in touch with the ATC to ask for permission to take off. We then taxi to the runway. I know that we hold the brakes on and put full afterburner on until the engines are 100%, and then blast down that runway. And as we get over 50 knots down the runway, we then turn off the wheel steering and let the aircraft continue on. I also have flaps on takeoff position. And once we take off, we need to get the gears up and the flaps up, well, especially the gears up, before we reach 170 knots, because that will actually damage the gear. What I'm also trying to learn is the approach to the airfield. So here right now, I'm going to be flying around in a large left-hander, and the airfield will be on my left. And as we get further out, about a mile, I will hook back around towards the airport and see if we can land. So on screen, I'm trying to lose some speed by putting flaps and air brakes down. As we come around this left bank here, we probably shouldn't cross the flight path of the airfield on the left, but in this video I'm going to be turning around. And I want to get my altitude down to around 1400 feet, 2000 to 1400 feet as we bank round. And as we get further down the far end for our final left hooker, we'll be putting some flaps down and the brake and slowing our speed down to around 140. Yes, we can slow down to 140 knots as we start to approach the landing on our left on the runway. And from there we will be getting the gear down. As long as the gear is down under 175, so I'm told to believe, then we are in a good position. And we also want to be aware of our approach attack angle. Now, I know this because of VTOL VR, and I've been learning quite a lot in that game. It's quite in-depth. A lot of people feel that VTOL VR is a bit arcadey. It isn't. It's quite a lot of simulation in there, and I've learned quite a lot about flying, approach landings, area of attack, usage of flaps and things like that. So don't knock that game if you're unsure about virtual reality. So as you can see now, my speed is dropping here. We're dropping down to around 1,000 feet as we come around to the left, and it will be turning that smoke off in a second. and then we put in the air brake on, we'll be getting some flaps, and we will be getting the gear down. And ladies and gentlemen, what you're about to witness is the pure joy of DCS replays. As I actually landed this bird, not very successfully, I will admit, ladies and gentlemen, but you'll see on the replay, one of the replays has me landing in the field, which isn't what happened. But I've noticed my aircraft seems to want to pull right all the time, and it isn't the wind. I don't know what it is, and it's not the trim. But as I land on the runway, it immediately wobbles, and, well, let's just say, without putting it politely, we go ass over tit. Trying to watch my airspeed here. I've come in way too high. I don't think I gave myself enough run up, and I've got to be aware of the angle of attack down at the bottom left. In some of the other aircraft it's been around 8, but I think this one's actually 6. But who knows, I'm going to flare just as we get down. I do wonder if that was me being too aggressive with the brakes too soon, with the wheels going too fast. But there you go. That is the MB-339, an awesome aircraft for actually learning how to fly. It's not overly complex, and there's just enough in there for you to be able to get in and enjoy it. And if you want some flight training, you also have the capability in this aircraft, and it's something I'm going to be sticking with for quite a long time before I jump into the more complicated modules. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Give me a like, subscribe and share, and give me any suggestions you've got on future DCS content, including VR. We will be flying this aircraft in VR in a future video. Thanks for watching. I shall see you again coming real soon. Bye bye.